What's up guys, Zac Perna here, and on today's video, we talk cardio. Alright, so before we get started, I'll just have you know that I am walking on the treadmill right now. One, because it's fitting for this cardio video, and number two, because I haven't done my cardio for today yet. So essentially, this is just helping me murder two birds with one stone. Today's video is everything on cardio. I wanted to share my opinion on cardio, the different types, the best cardio for fat loss, and also whether you should do cardio when bulking. So I've also put some Q&As in here as well. And I do apologize if me walking towards you is quite confronting or strange. I haven't seen anybody do this before, so I don't know how it's gonna turn out. It might be weird. If you're not gonna like it, then I suggest you probably close the video down nice and early. But otherwise, I wanna jump straight into today's topic of cardio, and I wanna talk about the different types of cardio first to introduce. One is low intensity cardio, and the second is high intensity cardio, also known as high intensity interval training or HIIT. So the two is LISS, and then there's HIIT. That's what we'll be talking about today in the context of fat loss and also overall health. So we'll talk about the pros and cons of each. Low intensity cardio is like what I'm doing now. It's just walking or on another cardio machine where you're not getting your heart rate up, nothing too crazy, and usually done between 30 and 60 minutes. Whereas HIIT or high intensity cardio is short bursts of like all out effort, done between 10 to 20 minutes in total with rest times in between that. So let's talk about the benefits of each. So I think my favorite type of cardio is low intensity cardio. I do this every day. I walk every day, either down at the beach with Bear or just around the block. It's not too taxing on the body, so I can do it with weights. And here's where some of the benefits, I think, like the most important benefits, is that it doesn't interrupt my weight training. So for example, here, I'll just wait for this car to go past me and die. For example, I can walk in the morning for an hour, and then I can do cardio in the afternoon or vice versa, and I'll be fine. Also, it's good for recovery, and you're not putting yourself at the risk of injury. So if you're sprinting, doing HIIT, you might have a bad day, you might be dehydrated, not warmed up, and you can tear your hamstring off the bone just doing some sprints. So for me, it's very consistent, it's easy to put into my routine, and it just gets everything moving without being too draining and mentally draining as well. Plus, it's also I get a lot of mental clarity out of just going outside for a walk, especially if you get so used to being stuck in a gym or behind a desk, behind a screen. I really like to just get outside and move around a little bit. So for me, this is sustainable, it's consistent, and I find you just feel great on it. It's worked for me in the past to get to as lean as I wanted to get to without being too crazy on it, and I just really enjoy it. So that's low intensity cardio, kind of covered the benefits. I'd say the main disadvantage of low intensity, wind, get out, is that it's just time consuming. So if you don't have an hour to put in every day to going for a walk or something like that, then it's probably not for you, and it won't be sustainable. You're better off doing HIIT. So speaking of HIIT, I want to talk through the pros and cons of that as well. So when you're doing high intensity interval training, guys, you want to make your high intensity periods between 10 to 30 seconds of all out effort if you can, and then your cool down low intensity periods between 30 seconds to around a minute. And you can do this for up to 20 minutes, and it will burn more calories. So this is mainly due to the EPOC effect. So that stands for excess post-exercise oxygen consumption. Whew. In other words, that's the afterburn effect that Mike Chang doesn't shut the hell up about. So that means that for the rest of the day after your HIIT session, you're burning more calories. So it's essentially boosting your metabolism whilst it's inherently slowing down from a dieting phase. So that's why HIIT cardio is really good when you're dieting, is because you're kind of working on boosting your metabolism and burning more energy throughout the day when you're actually slowing it down because you're eating less food. So HIIT cardio, great for that. It's also got a few other benefits. I mean, you can retain a lot more muscle on HIIT cardio because sprinters actually build muscle doing sprints. So I'm not going to tell you that you can build it, but you can definitely retain more. If you're like low intensity walking, I don't think you can burn muscle that way. You'd have to really be going for it or jogging or something like that because it's still anaerobic. But even still, HIIT is more beneficial for muscle retention. I like to run these stairs, so I come down here a lot and I'll just do like sprints up the stairs, then have a little cool down, then sprint again. And by the time I get to the top, I'm absolutely dead. And I can only do that for about 10-15 minutes. There's a few different types of HIIT if you want to do them. You can grab any cardio machine at your gym, and as long as you can add resistance to it, you can do HIIT training with it. So what you can do is just go for normal, like minute, just cool down. There's a dog. And then you can go all out with the added resistance on there. And also you can choose an exercise, like if you want to break your back and try kettlebell swings, just make sure you have good form. But any exercise that you can, go all out with, then you can do HIIT with that. It's very time efficient and it only occupies, 20 minutes at best. But the disadvantages of this is that it's draining. So when you're on low calories, I find it really hard to get motivated to actually go and do HIIT and sprint and go all out. I'd rather go for a walk. It's much easier for me to do. Also, you run the risk of injury. Like I said, it's if you're doing, you know, sprints and you haven't warmed up properly, it's probably not smart. Essentially, if you're able to be consistent with your HIIT and you really enjoy doing it and you can do it 3-4 times a week, then perfect, you know, keep it in there. But if you're like me and you think, I don't think I could do it, you know, more than once a week consistently, and you'd rather just walk or do any other low intensity. I mean, when I say low intensity, you can go for a stationary bike ride, you can do another cardio machine that's, you know, not getting your heart rate up, just any kind of, you know, activity. Tips when you're doing HIIT is try and make your low intensity still active, so still just go for a walk or move around a little bit. You don't have to just sit down, but make your high intensity all out. So you can even do things like Tabata. Like Tabata's like, I think 20 seconds all out effort, 10 seconds rest. And you just do that only for 4 minutes. But the key thing here is to make sure you're going 100% intensity. If you're only doing, you know, 70%, it's not going to be as beneficial. You really need to do that. So overall, in my honest opinion, I do think high intensity cardio is the best for fat loss, just because of that EPOC, the increased EPOC effect, and the effect that it has on your metabolism. It's just one of those things where it's hard for your body to adapt to that level of stimulus because it is so intense. I mean, if you've ever sprinted as hard as you can, like not just perceived, but literally all out for 30 seconds, it's nearly impossible, and your heart wants to explode in your chest at the end of it. So that kind of stimulus is really difficult to adapt to, so it's pretty effective in terms of fat loss. But the best cardio for fat loss is the one that you will stick to. So for me, I couldn't say, all right, I'm doing 3-4 HIIT sessions a week and I'm gonna do that for the rest of the whole cut. Because I know that realistically, I'm probably not gonna stick to that. It's gonna be too hard. I'm gonna get drained. When I take more calories out, I won't have the energy. And I like routine. I like consistency in my routine. So I'd rather go, okay, we're gonna walk for an hour every single day. I know that I can get that done easy, instead of saying, let's try to do HIIT 4 times a week, and then if you fail, then we'll reassess. You know, I like to have things from the start kind of ready to go. So fat loss aside, I've been getting a lot of questions saying, do you do cardio when you're bulking? Short answer, yes. So I just did an off season. Now I'm dieting now, but before I was doing off season and I was doing cardio every single day for about 40 minutes. And it was just like a walk outside, 45-minute walk, take bed for a spin. And it'd be just, it wouldn't be just so I could burn calories. There's this misconception that people think that they look at it too black and white and they think, well, cardio is burning calories, bulking, you want to be in a calorie surplus, so it's counterintuitive and it's doing the opposite of what you want, so you're not going to make as many gains, you may as well eat less, which I used to think at a time, but now I do believe that if your body's functioning better and you're putting better food into it and you're actually, you know, exercising and it's healthier, then you're going to get better results. So if you're not mobile and you're just, all you do is eat and then you have an hour of the day where you train, yeah, you're going to make some gains obviously, but how healthy is that for your body and your whole system? I know that I felt so good getting up in the morning, doing an hour, you know, 45-minute walk outside, getting everything moving, get the blood flowing. You don't burn that many calories when you're doing it. It doesn't tire you out. Then I'd have my meals, then I could go train, and it was something about that it just like woke up my whole like lymphatic system and everything, and I felt great. Sometimes when I'm not doing cardio and all I do is just train, I feel like an immobile meathead. Like the training is hard, I don't feel as fit. Because you can get your heart rate up when you're doing walking. I mean, you can work on your fitness that way. I personally wouldn't do anything like running if I'm trying to put on muscle, purely because I know that would have some impact on my training session quality. So I know that a walk doesn't affect my training quality. I think it's better for your like insulin sensitivity just to move, better for your overall body function. So I do recommend you guys do cardio if you're trying to put on muscle. But when I say cardio, I mean low intensity, or a couple of HIIT sessions a week, provided it doesn't interfere with the quality of your training. But for me, I found walking is perfect. Just walk outside, and also the mental benefits of that, it allows me to stay a bit more focused, and I can kind of align my goals for the day and actually like reset. Sometimes you feel a little bit overwhelmed when all you do is just work and then train. You don't get time to actually just clear your head a little bit. Another thing I like to do is wear a activity tracker to track cardio. So because for me, I do low intensity cardio, so I do a lot of walking. At the end of the day, I aim to get around 15,000 steps in at this point in the cut. So using a Fitbit or a Garmin or whatever you want to use as a measure of tracking your activity is a good idea, but don't track the calories that it tells you that you're burning, because it is wrong. It just can't be, it doesn't know your body. Everybody's different, it can't be right. So I have a lot of people say, it says I'm burning this many calories when, you know, I'm only eating this many, whereas it's pretty incorrect. What you should do is use it as a relative measure. So I know now, like I was saying, I aim to get 15,000 steps in. Now I've done about 6,000. So I've done 6,000 today. After a big walk, a training session, and being active, I generally do 15,000 a day. There's no point, if you're dieting, there's no point doing cardio first thing in the morning and then sitting on your ass for the rest of the day, because you're only gonna do a couple thousand steps. Your calorie burn is gonna be pretty minimal. So using something like a Fitbit or just an activity tracker, for me it helps me become more active because I'm conscious of my steps, how much I'm moving around, but don't think the calories that it tells you you're burning are correct, because they're not. So another question I get asked a lot is what to do. Should you increase cardio during a fat loss phase or decrease it coming out of a fat loss phase? And yes, but do these things sparingly. So when you're in a fat loss phase, if you want to add more cardio in, great. I don't like to exceed 80 minutes a day at the peak of my cut. I think I'll get up to about 90, and that's pushing it at the end, but anything over an hour starts to get pretty uncomfortable. Keep pushing it. If you don't want to take any calories out, definitely keep pushing it, add some more cardio in, but within your comfort levels. Don't go too crazy, because then you won't be able to come back from that. And once you're finished with the dieting phase, what I like to do is when you do your reverse diet, so add 300-400 calories back in, get to maintenance as quick as you can, and then keep your cardio in. Just keep your activity the same, and all you're changing is your food. Then once you've changed a bit of food, you're back into a routine of eating more, then you can cut your cardio back to maybe an hour a day, 45 a day, and just see what happens. Usually when you're coming out of a cut and you do a reverse diet, the body's really good at burning more energy. So you automatically become more active, your NEAT increases, so your non-exercise activity, thermogenesis, just walking around, your intensity in the gym increases because you have more food, so you're burning more calories anyway. So that bit of cardio that you're cutting out might not make too much difference because you'll make up for it elsewhere. But again, do it really slowly. You don't want to make drastic changes all at once, because then you don't know what's doing what. Another question I get a lot is, should you do fasted cardio or fed cardio? Long story short, guys, it honestly does not matter. There's no difference in fat burning whether you do cardio fasted or cardio fed after a meal. So think about this, if I do cardio fasted first thing in the morning, I'm gonna be burning more fat than if I was to have a meal and then go do it, obviously. But you'll be burning less fat later in the day when you have that same meal. So obviously, considering macros are the same, either way, you're not changing food, you're just changing the timing, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, over the 24-hour period, it's gonna work itself out the same way anyway. So I like to think of it as fasted cardio has more benefits for me because it suppresses my appetite a little bit longer. I'm able to get up and move around first thing in the morning, and it clears my head too. So I really enjoy fasted cardio. Again, it's a lot of psychological things, guys. If I do cardio first thing in the morning, I'm pretty motivated to do it. Like, I'll get up, have some caffeine, be good to go, and be pretty excited to do it. And then by the time my gym session comes around later, I'm also really keen for that because I love training. But if you find cardio to be really difficult, then I wouldn't push it till later in the day because you'll dread on it, you probably won't even do it. And if you're like me and you really love training, then it's easy to train later because you enjoy it. So I think do something that's the hardest thing first. If you're dreading your hour cardio session or your HIIT session, do it first thing in the morning and just get it out of the way. And I don't know why, there's a lot of hatred towards cardio in the fitness scene. I think it's because it's easier to bag on, and then everybody's made mistakes of doing way too much, but it just gives it a bad rap. I mean, I've never felt better since doing cardio as part of my off-season plan. I'm really enjoying the cardio now that I'm doing when I'm dieting. I'm actually trying to hold back from not doing too much because I'm enjoying it and I get bored and I just want to move around and do stuff. So I think use cardio as a tool for whatever your goal is. If your goal is fat loss, then definitely put it in there. I don't think people can get shredded. I mean, they can, but I don't think it's easy to get shredded without cardio. You're gonna have to just take too many calories out, but find a way to enjoy it. So whether that's setting performance-based goals and trying to hit certain times, or like sometimes I'll do intervals on the treadmill and do it in 1 minute blocks just because it's easier that way in my head to pump out 20 minutes of hard cardio. Other times I'll just want to go for a walk outside and enjoy it. So I think if you find a cardio that you actually enjoy, then stick with that. If you're really enjoying doing low intensity cardio, don't care if somebody says you should be doing HIIT, because the fact of the matter is you're not going to like it, you're probably not going to keep doing it, so there's no point doing it. I like to do HIIT on my rest days because I know that that's consistent with me and I'm not training, so it's not gonna impact my training session. And I just think, okay, great, I'll do HIIT every rest day, 2 to 3 times a week, done. Every other day though is low intensity cardio for me. I think ideally you'll have a combination of both, but like I said, if you don't want to do one of them and you really can't see yourself doing it, then don't. Stick with what you enjoy. We live an active lifestyle. There's no point just going to the gym and slothing it. I mean, that's what I do. But being a sloth and then just going and sitting on the couch and just eating. Just look after your body and you'll feel better. So that does it for me now. And I want to sit down and answer some questions that I got on my Instagram. Let's do it. So I put up a post on Instagram and asked you guys to drop any questions you had about cardio. And I got a few, so I think if I haven't already covered them in this video, I'll do a quick recap now. Okay, so first up, do you have to take a BCA before or after cardio or during, or do you have to take any at all? And protein shakes, do you have to take after cardio too, since I haven't done cardio in a while? I get a lot of questions on people saying, do you need to have protein after cardio? No, you definitely don't. Do you need to have BCAAs during, after, or before cardio? Look, you can. I always have in the past. I always would sip on them during my cardio sessions. BCAAs can boost protein synthesis for up to an hour, so that's generally perfect for cardio. So I think having BCAAs during cardio helped reduce catabolism. So I think it helped me retain more muscle when I was cutting. I've always done it. It's just something that I like to do. Plus, they taste really nice, so it helps to have something sweet, but definitely not protein, just not a thing. If you want to take something before your cardio, you can definitely have like an oxy shred, which is just caffeine and L-carnitine too, so good fat burners. You should address HIIT because I feel like walking for an hour plus isn't efficient for a lot of people. I hope I summed that up because that is very true. A lot of people just don't have the time, they'd rather smash it out quickly. So definitely, it depends on your lifestyle, depends on your schedule. What's your favorite form of cardio and why? Like I said, I really enjoy walking. I like to walk outside. It's relaxing as well as calorie burning. On rest days, do you recommend an hour's walk to burn sufficient calories for the day? Yes. So I like to either, on rest days, I do a harder cardio session. So I'll do low intensity, I'll go for a walk and also do a little bit of HIIT just because I want to feel like I'm working a bit more. Not because I think that I'm burning less that day, so I should do more or eat less. Usually it'll average itself out across the week, so you don't need to stress too much. But because it's a rest day, if you guys want to add something different, a bit more physically challenging, then it's a good time to do so. So if you want to put a HIIT session in on your rest day, then yeah, you can do that too. I'm currently trying to bulk for the summer, but the sport I participate in at school involves cardio, sprinting, that lasts about 2 hours, 5 days a week. Is that going to affect my bulking process? So guys, when you have like commitments to cardio, whatever sport you're playing, you have to increase your calories if your goal is to put on size, because the benefits of cardio, yeah, you're getting all of those, but at the same time, it's still taking away calories, so you need to offset that by eating more. So if you live an active lifestyle and you're trying to put on muscle, maybe you do a lot of sport, know that you have to eat more than the average person or that you usually would, just to offset that. How many times a week would you recommend doing HIIT in the form of sprints / walking? Definitely 3 times a week. Any more than that and you can just burn yourself out. Yes, do a video. Plus, does it matter if you do cardio with or without hands? Yeah, no, I don't think it matters if you have hands, arms or not. It just feels a bit weird. Nah, I think the question was mainly saying, does it matter if you have your hands on the treadmill, say if you're walking on a treadie? You're probably burning less calories, and if you can't walk at the pace with your arms swinging like normal, and you have to hold on to something for dear life, then guaranteed you probably shouldn't be doing that intensity. I used to do the maximum incline and like the fastest speed walk I could, and I'd be just clutching on for the treadmill because I couldn't even walk that pace. But now I walk at the pace that I can comfortably walk at, and when I want to boost the intensity, I can maintain that without feeling like I'm going to fall off. So long story short, don't hang on because you're probably just gonna keep hanging on and you'll get in no rhythm. If you just walk like normal and think about something else, it'll go much quicker. Unless you actually meant, do you need hands to do cardio? Like physically hands, which I don't know, but it'd suck if you didn't have any hands. But otherwise guys, that is essentially it from me. I hope I covered everything. If I didn't, please leave a comment in the comment section below of a question or your favorite type of cardio or what you like to do, share it around. And please like the video and subscribe if you already haven't. But otherwise, that is it from me. You guys know what to do. Stay massive. Sexy jeans in my section and slide into your DMs in the PM and the AM. Then I slide into your feelings when you see just what I'm saying.